Right?
Hey, everybody, we are live. It's Rick and Lee.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rick in Denver, Colorado, active top producing realtor. Lee in Seattle, active top producing realtor. And we welcome you to our show with some free live coaching for real estate agents and sometimes some advice for homeowners. Lee, kick it off. You had something you want to share, but I have no idea what it is.
So I want to tell a little story about this week because I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, another agent who was in my group who was awesome and is going to go crush it. She's in Los Angeles area, but so I prospected last weekend and then Monday, and then met with a seller on Monday at a for sale by owner in, across the water near me, and only like 25 minutes from where I live. And when I did the first call, he said to me, he's like, well, I have a lot of interest on it. I think plenty of people that are, he's like, I'm not going to list it, but you're welcome to come walk through it. So I went on this preview on Monday afternoon, early afternoon. It was Monday. I think it was about 2, and hit it off with him. He, kind of built rapport. Him and his wife are moving out of state. That's why they don't want to hang on to it. And by probably 5 p.m. that evening, I had the listing, got the listing signed. I think it was like Tuesday morning, got photos Wednesday and a video that I think I sent to you. You've seen the video, I think. And
this is the condo.
Yep. Took it live yesterday. I had it live yesterday by about noon or 2 p.m. I think. Had 4 showings on it yesterday. Already have somebody threatening an offer, and it's Friday, and hadn't even heard of this guy on Sunday. That was the first time I ever even knew his name. So for agents out there that are wondering how do you do that? Well, this is how you do it. And this
is not someone who was on a drip system. This isn't someone you had called 45 times.
Nope.
This wasn't someone you had bombed or video texted.
Yep. First call, set a preview appointment, went on the preview appointment, walked the property with the seller, met the seller in person, signed the listing less than 24 hours later, took it live, 2 days after that, and was showing it yesterday. We had 4 showings yesterday afternoon. Starting to get feedback, having more showings today, hoping to have it under contract by tomorrow.
So Lee, that's an awesome story, and I hope that inspires people. You went in and he told you he'd been talking to a lot of other people. He told you he didn't want a realtor. He was selling by owner. What was it about the knowledge you demonstrated, the skill you demonstrated, or the relationship you formed that moved him off of his we know now they were false objections, but at the time he was defending himself. What was it? How did you move him off of that?
So and here's another shocker about this whole situation is he's got another home here that he's also selling that's listed with another agent locally, another brokerage. Somebody, I don't even know who the agent is. I know the brokerage because it's a local brokerage. And I gave my value proposition when I met up with him. I sent him some things via text. I sent him, I think I sent him some things via text and via email that day.
So a pre-listing package of some sort.
Yeah. That's being generous. That's being pretty generous. I sent him, I went over my value proposition at the appointment, at the preview appointment. And I said, look, I can get this sold for you. And I think here's the way to price it. I had done a little mini CMA before I went over there. I understood the market. I understood the surrounding area. And I just was like, I can get this sold for you. I know I can. This is a great unit, and it should move quickly. And it's like, I don't know if I would even use the word convincing, but it's showing the seller that you can accomplish this goal for them in a short period of time. And for him, he's moving out of state. He's married. He's got all kinds of other things. I don't know what he does for a living. I think he might be like a business owner or something, but clearly he does very well because he has another house that he's selling that's gorgeous. But anyway, I don't like, he's got other things on his plate right now that he, and it was clear to me he did not necessarily want to be dealing with this particular thing. And I demonstrated enough value at the preview. That preview, by the way, was all of 20 minutes, maybe 15. I mean, I walked through it. I talked to him. I did end up having to go to his house to get keys, because I mean, I had to get keys so I could show it. But so this really goes out to people out there who are, reluctant to prospect, or are reluctant to try. It's like, and I've honestly, I could say this was a fluke. It wasn't. I've had this happen before. It happened to me last month. The same scenario. I took a listing, and it was totally different. It was a mixed use building, but that really doesn't matter. Gave my value proposition, took the listing, took it live, had it under contract like in 48 hours. It actually closed on Monday, this past Monday, and it was the same scenario. And so it's like and people that are like developing their skills, maybe you wouldn't have the confidence to do that right now, but it's like lightning will strike. Like you can develop that in a short period of time, and once you see it happen once, you can do it again and again and again.
So let's go back, and you're absolutely right. Let's go back, and you said you told them your value proposition. You were there less than 20 minutes, so you had to come in, meet and greet, tour the property a little bit. I mean, let's just give somebody a value proposition, like where they have to be with their business. Mm-hmm. How do you present that? Like I'm Tom. I own a condo. I'm like, hey, Lee, so why should I hire you? How are you going to get this place sold when I could hire 50 other people?
So let's
just have it as a conversation. Like, pitch me. We're in a condo. Okay. Yeah. So why, Lee? How do you get this sold when I could hire 50 other people for less? What do you do that's different?
So Tom, I can get this live right away. I can get you the most traffic because I'm going to take new pro photos. I'm going to do video. I'm going to get it out through, I'm going to get it onto like 100 different websites. I'm going to get it live, and I'm going to communicate the value of the property in a way that hasn't happened before. And that's really, I'm going to get the most eyeballs on the property in the shortest period of time. And I have like a pitch deck that I include, and it's all of my tactics of how I'm going to do that. There's probably 15 things on there. It's pretty simple, but it's from the basic to the complex. So listing it in the MLS locally, listing it on like different websites, having the best photos, video. The folks I use for that are phenomenal. They're there. They're like amazing. They do an incredible job. Taking all that content, cutting it up, and it's on social media. It's blasted out there. It's also reverse prospecting other agents in the marketplace, people who are working in this particular area in town. So not just Seattle agents in general, but in this particular area who are doing a lot of business in this area. And honestly, most agents, and I don't really know of any agents in my market who are doing all of those things. Some are doing one or two of them, but no other agent that I know of is doing that. And it came down to the value proposition, all of those things, and building rapport, and being the agent of choice in that moment, because that's really all it takes, is being the agent of choice in that very moment. And,
it is a moment thing, and that's the lightning strike part, right? Mm-hmm. Like if sometimes, we're not dissing systems people. You do need to have follow-up. But you can't rely on follow-up to get you all your deals, mm-hmm. right? The deals are going to come from proactive, getting out there, hustling, setting same-day appointments, meeting with somebody while they have too much on their plate, while they're mm-hmm. frustrated, while they're upset, while they just got burned, while they just got whatever, right? Like you can't count on your little drip system or your call to hit them at the right time. So you just have to have more conversations.
And part of it is sensing where he was at. I mean, I could sense that, like, from the way he was talking to me, I was like, this guy doesn't really want to be dealing with this right now. I mean, I picked that up right away, and I was like, I can press the easy button for you. I can have this live within 24 hours. And I
Nice.
did. I mean, I got the listing signed Tuesday, had photos Wednesday, live Thursday. And I mean, and I sent him the video. I was like, here's the video. And he's like, wow. And I was like, yeah, I know. It looks awesome, doesn't it? So that's really what it takes. And I mean, and I'll do it again. I'm going to do it again today, because I took another listing this week as well. And that's going live today. And it's totally different scenario, totally different property. But anyway, I mean, that's really what it takes. And they're out there. I mean, they're out there, they're in your market. They're like, if you have a list of leads, there's somebody in that list that is waiting for you to call them and needs your solution. They need your help. So it's just one of those affirming things. I mean, I actually, to be totally bluntly honest, I didn't have a great week. Like, I don't feel very good. There's all those other personal things I'm dealing with that are making me not be in an awesome place right now. But I still was able to do this and watch lightning strike. And, that's a big deal to me. So it's something where these are the things, these are sort of the little nuggets you take with you into the future, because I know that there'll be adversity over the next few months. And I'll think back to this one, because this is really what it's all about. It's allowing you to, it's practicing your skills and getting out there in front of an actual live seller and, really, really making it happen. So.
Absolutely. And some of the other things you can add, folks, to as a value proposition, and these are all things you can hire out, right? I spent many, 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 many years trying to do all this stuff myself, and I wasted a lot of time and money because I was trying to save money, right? And so drone photography, drone videography, pro photography that shows the view outside, right? Whether it's via HDR or good use of flambient lighting, flash mixed with ambient, and so you can actually see the view and see outside and feel what it's like to be inside the house. But doing a Matterport 3D model or some other 3D capture, right? Submitting that then for an architectural floor plan, hey, folks, I'm going to give you a 3D rendering, and you can do this with your hands, right? I'm going to give you a 3D rendering. Have you ever seen one of those? It's so cool. Like, someone in New York can literally walk your house virtually and make an offer because they've already felt like they've been inside, right? An architectural floor plan, it's just $15 from the Matterport, and people can see how the rooms flow. They can see how little Johnny and Jilly are going to play next to each other, right? Like, or whatever. Don't use names because of NAR and all that stuff, but the point being is that you just keep adding layers of value, right? The higher up the food chain I go, like, if I've got $1 million listing, I'm like, look, I'm going to do a 6-page brochure, cardstock, glossy, feels like a magazine. It's so, check out this one I did on my last listing, right? Check out this marketing book I did for the last one. And folks, what's a marketing book? I went on Snapfish or Shutterfly, right? And they were having a 50% off sale on lay flat books. And for $9.99, I got a hardcover book of all the photos from a gorgeous listing I did. And I made 3 copies of it. So I take that Shutterfly book, which, they're like, hey, it's $80 on sale today for $9. I'm like, great. I got 3 copies. I got this hardcover book from $1 million listing, pro photography, full 8.5 by 11 pages, right? Glossy, nice, lay flat. And I just hand it to the seller. Right. And when they're looking through that, there's something about that tactical feel of, wow, I'm holding something. I'm so used to everything being digital, but I'm holding something. And it's crisp and it's sharp and it's beautiful. And it's your best listing you've ever done. And you've got a story to go along with it. Not only of how you relieve the seller of stress and their burdens and their troubles, but also how you gave them great service and got them a great value. And so these aren't expensive things, right? Like, and you can do indoor drone flies, right? Like, if the house is big enough, those are really cool. They're flying outside, boom, right in through the door. They've got like a little mini like this. This is a Mavic Mini. They don't fly those, but they fly these whoops and other stuff. And they can literally fly through the house and give you more of a seamless tour. And then you pop on and right at the beginning, you're like, hey, it's Rick Jansen. I'm a realtor with EXP. I was just so excited to show you 13205 Shiloh Road, right? Give yourself a little plug and then let the video go. When you watch it at home, go on Camtasia, go on some TechSmith free software, Loom, whatever you want to do, record a voiceover while you're watching it and then just overlay it, right? But narrate the video so somebody knows what they're saying, right? And go for emotion, right? Facts tell, stories sell. And people don't want to they want to be informed by the benefits, right? But they want to like experience what's really going to happen from that, right? Or no, they want to be told of the features. They want to experience the benefits. So dive into the benefits and the emotion of the property as you're narrating the video, right? And so someone just put that all together. And maybe it runs you $500, $700, $1,000. Everybody's always starting off in this business. Everybody has a loss leader package. When you're just getting started, you can find it for $250, $300. Get all of this stuff from somebody who's brand new, but is, probably going to be pretty good, and form a long-term relationship with that photographer. So when you're like Lee and you're like, hey, look, I've got a listing tomorrow. I need the video edited by Thursday. You get it, right? Now you're not going to get it in 24 hours every time, but when they want to impress Lee, they know Lee is going to bring them 3 or 4 more deals this month. They want to impress Lee, and they'll respond and bump into the front of the food chain.
Well, and the thing, Rick, too, is that people think that this, I mean, for agents, like people think that this is to attract a buyer, and it is, but the reality is it's also for sellers. It's letting the seller know like how committed you are by all your actions to getting their home sold. And so it's a two-pronged thing. I mean, of course, yeah, it increases the number of eyeballs on the property. It increases the exposure, everything. But it's also to build your resume as an agent, because you can always be showing that. And I mean, I have a collection now of like every listing I've ever sold, I have video on it. And I can show a seller, I can be like, well, Mr. Seller, I just sold a very similar property. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you exactly how we marketed it, how we, what kind of messaging we used, which will be effective on your deal as well. And that's super powerful.
It absolutely is. It's your only proof.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about the brick office or the glass office you work in. Nobody cares about the view you have from your desk. Nobody cares about the thickness of your business card, although that can sometimes impress. And back in the pre-COVID days, what comes down to is, are you going to do the job?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when you can pull out a stack of, not like, hey, I took 40 listings last year, can't show you any because there's a discount, and I just kind of used them on my cell phone and didn't even balance the light, didn't even go rectilinear, all these things that pro photographers do, right? You don't want to show a whole portfolio of cheap. And if you have quality, right, you're a quality person. You have skill, you're investing in yourself. You're watching this show, for Pete's sake. You already are in the top 20% because you're investing in yourself. So invest in the property as well, because that's what we do for a living, folks. Right? So invest in the property, invest in the marketing, because the marketing for the property is the marketing for your business.
Exactly.
And and that's the best way to build a brand. Everybody, you go on Facebook, there are 5,000 ads on how to build a brand. The best way to build a brand is just do quality work, which means finding quality people to do the work for you so you can be prospecting, because your job is sales. And I had a coach one time. He said, Rick, would you rather spend 20 hours a month doing photography of real estate listings that you took, or an extra 20 hours a month taking pictures of your kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to become the world's best real estate photographer anymore. Like in that instant, I wanted to become the world's best
be a real estate photographer,
pictures of my kids, right?
Yeah, if you want to be a real estate photographer, go be one. I mean, it's a profession. I mean, that's a whole world in and of itself. And the folks who I use, I have a couple of different companies locally that I use, and one in particular, and they're phenomenal. I mean, they're pros at it. That's why I use them.
Yeah. And hey, if you're just getting started and this is all overwhelming and you're flat broke and you don't have $1,000, you don't have $500, what do? Well, guess what? The Samsung S21, the iPhone 13, whatever you're using, the Google 6 Pix 5, like Pixel 5. So whatever you're using, just get rock steady, right? Make sure your verticals are all vertical. Get rock steady. Take the best picture you can from the furthest away as you can. Show the best room. Show the features of the home. And then ping me directly. Like, you can text me at 303-589-2320. I have an editor in Asia that's phenomenal. I Dropbox stuff at 10 p.m. at night. I've got it back at 6 a.m. in the morning, and it is gorgeous. Now, that's off a pro DSLR camera, but like I said, when you really want to be just tiring the photography out, right? But this is the cheap, I'm just getting started, bootstraps model. If all you have is your cell phone, and if your cell phone takes good pictures, then send it to a professional editor and pop them to the best of their ability, because the editors can do amazing work. They can turn a gray sky blue with clouds. They can turn a daytime photo that's raining into a twilight photo that's gorgeous. And then pack some of that money away and say, I'm going to save $1,000 so that I can properly market the next home. You only do that one time, right? But do that one time, save $1,000 and invest in the next one.
Well, and Rick, this is making me think back to I think it was spring of 2020. I took a listing, $850,000 listing, took it at 3%. So that's going to be what, like a $24,000 commission. Didn't have any money at the time. Didn't have any money at all. Like I think I did either pay for it on a credit card, or I don't even know. I can't remember if I borrowed it or whatever, but the front yard in this listing was destroyed, and I went to Home Depot and landscaped it myself. And it cost me, I think, like $1,000 or something, or $800 and I did the work. I personally did the work and got it to look just so where in a photo it would look appealing, and if we had showings, it would not be an eyesore. I mean, it wasn't anything special at all. It was just not an eyesore. And it took like 45 days, and I sold the listing, or 60 days, and I sold the listing. And you know, it's sort of like performing arbitrage. It's like I knew that it was a quality listing in a neighborhood that I wanted to break into, and I did that. And people thought I was insane. I mean, there were other agents in my office at the time who were like, "What are you doing?" Because I would quit prospecting at noon, and I would drive over there, and I'd be there like all afternoon landscaping this property for like 3 days. And I was by myself doing it. And it's like, most people wouldn't do that, but I don't want to be most people. I want to be a top producer, and sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Absolutely.
And I was telling, and sometimes it's having the vision to do something different, right? Like I was at a listing, FISBO, it's new construction. They finished off the first floor, absolutely gorgeous, stunning, right? Stunning. And the basement's still in 2x4s. And they're running out of money to finish the property, right? And he's like, well, I've got drywall crew coming. And so I said, okay, look, when the drywall crew comes, yeah, I have a feeling you want to sell this as fast as possible, for as much as possible, right? He said, yeah, we're getting to that point, right? It cost overruns, shipping delays, all this other stuff. It's just been bleeding us dry. I said, okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. When the drywall goes up, I'm going to bring my photographer in. We're going to take pictures of it. And then I'm going to have my editors. You don't just say, I'm going to ship it overseas, whatever. You say, I'm going to have my editors who I've worked with before virtually finish your room for you. Right. And we're going to say this is a rendering. We're not going to misrepresent the property, but we're going to finish it off for you so that we can get to market coming soon with what it is going to look like and start driving traffic before you're even finished. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Here's the fun thing, Mr. Seller. I can now even do that in a 3D model. I can stage a 3D model and virtually finish out a 3D model so that people can experience it. If they're flying in from California, flying in from New York, they can't see a vision when it's in drywall, mud, and tape. They just can't. Mm-hmm. But I can take a undone place, and even if you're going to be fully finished in 2 weeks, let's not wait 2 weeks to start driving traffic, right? And here's the little phrase I like to use sometimes, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I said, a shark can smell blood in the water for up to 2 miles, right? But it still takes the fastest shark time to swim 2 miles, right? And we don't necessarily want the fastest shark because they're probably going to be lowballing you. We want all of the sharks surrounding the boat. So when I start chumming the water, I'm going to start putting some stuff out there for people to be attracted. I want to make sure that boat is fully being circled by every shark in the water by the time we go live, right? I don't want just the fastest shark. I want the slow shark. I want the out-of-town shark. I want the COVID-6 shark to get well. I want the family that's looking to move. I want the investor. I want the doctor. I want everybody ready to go, surrounding the boat. So when we say, hey, come on board, boom, we're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell all my folks the same thing. I'm like, when we go live, I want to make a huge splash when we go live. I mean, that's the most critical time, because then your days on market is running. You have this huge surge of activity right out of the gate. And I mean, it's super, super critical.
Yeah. So this is typically Freedom Friday. And today, Freedom, you might have been expecting like this EXP recruiting pitch and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? Freedom also comes from doing production, folks. And freedom comes from having a unique value proposition. Freedom comes from doing great marketing for your property. So you have great marketing for yourself. Freedom comes from building a good brand by doing good work, right? Not by having a shiny logo, but by having good work to rely on, having good skill set to rely on. Next week, here's what I want to do. There was this past 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a gathering of the top 25 revenue share groups in Puerto Rico. Glenn Sanford was there. Our business partners, Tim and Julie Harris, were there. Another business partner of ours, Gene Frederick, who's a board member at EXP, was there. I'm going to invite Tim, Julie, and Gene, see who's available next Friday, to come on for Freedom Friday for a very special episode to reflect back on their time in Puerto Rico with 25 of the top revenue share group leaders, and see, like, hey, first of all, what's the vibe, right? Hanging out with that many people who are 100% free, 100% free due to the revenue share model, right? They're free to work on themselves. They're free to work on their families. They're free to give to others. They're free to invest time in other people's businesses and help you become free. What's that like to be around that many people who are that successful, right? And then what are your takeaways, right? And maybe next week's a half an hour, but Lee, I'm not going to put a cap on it. Like if we can get one of them on here, I'm just going to let them talk as long as
for sure. Definitely.
So tune in next week for a very special Friday. I'm going to put it out there. We're going to have somebody here that was at that group. I mean, it might not even be one of our business partners, because guess what? At EXP, people so freely give back. It doesn't matter if you're in the revenue share group or not. They will still give to you. They will still collaborate with you. They will still want the best for you. We're not competitors. If someone's not my business partner, they're not my sponsor, they didn't vouch for me, whatever, they don't view me as a competitor because I might go attract agents in their area. They're going to say, Rick, you have agents in this area? Let me help you. Right? Let them come to my lunch and learn. Let them come to my business training. Let them come to, like, I'll bring them on board and they'll sign up under you. You introduced them to the concept. I'll sell them for you. I'll pitch them. I'll share it with them. We don't really have to sell this because it sells itself. Right?
Yeah.
So whether it's one of our business partners or not, next Friday, Freedom Friday, is going to be a very special show. So tell all your friends, invite everybody, subscribe, notify, do all the things you have to do with the bells, the buttons. Share this link.
That's the real Freedom Friday. Yeah. My humble opinion.
The real Freedom Friday. Yeah, we're gonna work next week. We're gonna work on your long-term income, but today was short-term freedom. Next week we're going back to long-term Freedom Friday.
Exactly.
All right, get out there and crush it, buddy.
Will do, man. Talk to you soon.
Have a great Friday.